Welcome to the channel. Highlight of a day-night challenge. Some interesting hands here. Top left, we have King Queen suited and the small blind limp. We raise it up to 4.1 and he calls. Flop comes A7 deuce. We have the nuts. He checked to us. We bet small. Interesting, he mini raised us, like not mini raise, but he raised us small. We decide to call. Nothing else we should do here. And keep all his bluffs in. Turn gets really interesting. The Jack of Diamond came. So he leads for half pot again. I think now we need to... I was thinking maybe we should raise it up. But I want to keep all his bluffs in, right? So the river comes 9 of diamonds. We still have the nuts unless he has the straight flush, which is highly unlikely, right? We're only losing to one combo of that. And he bets out again. We decide now it's definitely time to raise, but we don't know how much he's willing to pay unless he has 10 of diamond, right? So we decide to mini raise and he jams. We snap call, he has 2 pair playing the board. So thank you very much for the donation, sir. Next interesting hands. Top left, we have pocket jacks in the small blind. And we see an open and raise from the button. We decide to re-raise. I think our hand plays better, right? With the re-raise. Because you don't want to play jacks 4-way or 3-way, right? And we decided to raise 25.6 BBs. And the button is tanking, then he jams. We call. He has pocket queens. And we are drawing that on the flop once he hit the queen, right? I don't think I can play this hand any differently, considering was still early stage of the tournament, right? So we lose a big one, but we're still healthy in chips. Bottom left, we have ace king suited. And top right, we have got pocket tens. UTG decides to raise up 2.2 with ace king suited. We decide to 3-bet. And top right, pocket tens in the small. One raise, one call. We decide to re-raise again. We take down ace king, pray. Pocket 10, we decide to raise. The initial raiser is tanking. So I was hoping he falls and the button calls. And that's exactly what happens. Flop comes king 10 deuce with flop middle set, which is really nice. Decides to bet small. He calls. Turn comes a queen. Ace jack, 9 jack completes. But I'm not too worried about that, right? Once we have a middle set, we try to target king queen, right? Or king jack. Interestingly, he raised us on the turn mini raise, and he has set twos, right? so there's nothing he can do to get away from it once flop comes king deuce 10, right? So finally a cooler that went that way. We open king nine suited on the top left, and the person on our left decides to 3-bet us. We defend. Flop comes 8-7 deuce, and check check. Turn comes a 6. We have a open ender now with 2 overs. We decide to lead. Try to get him to fold ace highs, right? Or better kings. And we drill the straight on the river. So I was thinking, should I bet or should I check to him? Because it's like the stack size a bit awkward, right? So in the end, I decided to bet half pot, I think, or maybe small. Right, I decided to bet like a third, try to get paid. We are losing to 9 jack here, but I'm not that worried at that point. We take it down, which is really nice. Next interesting hand, we have jack 10 suited. We open 2 callers, and the big blind is thinking. Yes, and we goes 4-way. Flop come 10-8-10. Small blind leads, and I think we decide to just flat here, because our hands look like draw or overpair, right? Once we called, and he leads out 1/3 again on the turn. It's definitely time to raise, and we decide to do that. Not too big, just like 1.5 ish, and he folds. We take it down. Top left, we have ace queen off. Decides to raise. And we have a caller from mid position. And all in from cutoff. It's an interesting spot at the time. I don't know, I can like shove, but I think calling is definitely okay. So we decide to call and flop 2 pair, flop 1 pair, turn 2 pair, and he has king 5. Just typical maniac play. Okay, next interesting hand is on the top right. We have ace-6 suited. We decide to limp. I mean, it's okay play, but looking back, maybe I should raise. Anyway, the flop comes king deuce 4, 2 diamonds. We have the nut flush draw. And small blind decides to bet. We decide to raise. For sure, we want to build the pot, right? With a nut draw. Or just kind of like mini clicked and he snaps, goes all in. We call, he has ace jack. We turn the nuts and have him drawing dead. I mean, just like very interesting hand for him to play this way. I have no idea what he put me on, right? A draw. You are not doing very well with against the draw either with ace jack, right? So interesting play, but we take it. Top left we have ace king. We just called all in. He has ace 8, off to a race, and we win the we win the big pot, right? Big set pot. So it's okay, bye. But the small blind was automatically all in. Um, top right, another interesting hand. We call the race and flop top 2 with 2 people behind us. And he just initial raiser just open jams. We have top 2, and we're definitely calling. And the person behind raises, we still go all in, and we have top 2 against ace queen. So we need to hold, and we hold. So we kind of like triple up. Very nice spot there to take it down. We have ace jack on the top left and kings on the bottom left. We raise ace jack, BVB, and we open kings, and ace jack hand we got re-raised, and kings we have 2 caller. We went all in with ace jack, BVB. He has ace queen. And we're drawing that on the flop, unfortunately. And we bet, and small blind just goes all in with queen 10. And we win again. We only have 23 bigs on the bottom left. Pocket fours, we win all in. Everybody four. No, ace jack calls. And we flop a 4. And he turned equity. But we held. Yes, we double up with a set of 4s. Very lucky there. Next interesting hand, we have pocket 5s. We limp. And the small blind calls. Big blind calls. We flop another set. On a king deuce 5. 2 spade. Checking to us. We are betting. Question is how much? Decide to bet small. And the small blind calls. And king of spade came on the turn. We have a full house. Now we're definitely betting the turn. If he has a flush, just got there. If he has a king, he's never folding. But I think he checked to us. Once he checked, I mean, we decide to buy small again. And I think and the river comes at 10. He only has a pot set bet left, so we decide to go for all in. It will be hard for him to fold a king or a flush to us, right? So we bet all in. And after tanking, I think he folds, right? Yeah, he folded. So good fold by him. We have king queen on the top right and king queen on the bottom right. He decides to re-raise the king queen in the small blind. Interestingly, the big blind calls and we flop the nuts. Three-way. When you do that, it's really nice, right? Decides to bet small. Big blind folds. Small blind, and the person on the button calls. Turn comes at 8, and he bets massive, right? With the flush blocker, we decide to go all in, and he calls off with ace queen of diamonds. So we had him drawing dead. He can only chop, and guess what? The king magically comes on the river, save him. Horrible play, got lucky against us. Top left, we have aces. We decide to open. And we have one caller from MP. And the button calls. Small blind calls as well. No, big blind calls as well. So it's four-way. Flop comes king deuce 5. All diamonds. We have the ace of diamonds. So we decide to check. Because I don't want to build a pot immediately. Because somebody could have like a smaller flush or a set. Once the jack came on the turn, we had the nuts. Definitely start betting now. And we bet 1/3. MP folds. And the button calls. So we decide to go all in because we only have 9.5 babies left. The pot is already 15.5. So we bet. He's tanking, 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 tanking. I was hoping for him to call, of course. He calls, but interestingly, he calls with 6 of diamonds. So we're all good. And we chip up again. We defend the king queen off in the big blind. The flop comes king 7-10. We have an open ender. And the initial raiser bet small. After thinking, I think we can play this hand aggressively, right? We still have the 8 outs to draw the nuts. So we decide to raise. And he calls. We turn the nuts. And only half pot size bet left. We decide to go all in. And he snaps. We were up against pocket tens, so need to avoid the pair board. Of course we don't. Then we lose. Down to 3 tables now. Top right, we have king, queen off. And the small button rip. We call. Against 7, 8 suited. We flop a queen. He turn equity. Lots of equity on the turn. But fortunately for us, we held. And we chip up. Then we're down to 2 tables. We have aces on the top left. We decide to raise. Simple open. Hoping to get action, right? Big blind defended the blind. So flop comes deuce, deuce, queen. We decide to check. It's pretty safe flop for aces. We decide to check and trap. Turn comes a 9. We have to bet now. A little bit over half pot. He calls. River comes another 9. Not a very nice card, to be honest. But I think we still could get a call from a queen, right? And we decide to bet small, targeting a queen. And on the right hand side, we have pocket jacks. We raise. And left, we take it down with aces. Chip up a little. We have 38 out of 90 on the left. And 71st get paid. And top right, we get jacks. We only have 18 bigs, so we decide to all in against ace queen and ace king. Unfortunately for us, a king come on the flop, and the turn isn't helping because the other guy has ace of clubs. So we're drawing really thin here, and we lose. It's unfortunate. So down to the last table, we have 7, 8. We decide to rip BVB, and he calls. Yes, ace jack. We need to get lucky. Flop comes turn a pair, which is very good. Right? We had a gutter and the back door, and we hold. So chip up again. Very nice. Very lucky there. So we are down to last 80-ish players. We get out pocket queens on the button. At this point, I was hoping someone jam, please. Just want to play heads up. One guy open. We decide to raise. I think it's a correct play because they are all short stacks, right? So he calls. The flop comes ace king 7. It's horrible flop for our pocket queens. So we decide to check this one back. Take a free turn, right? Eight of hearts come on the turn and he jams. I think when we have the queen of clubs, it takes a lot of his bluff combos, right? He has to be bluffing with 10 jack, 9 jack of clubs, right? But his hand contains a lot of like ace or king high, so we decide to fold that one. Now we all made the money, so I decided to open a few more tables to see how other tables doing. We are 31st out of 71, so pretty healthy. And we get out aces. We open, button calls, flop come king jack 8. We decide to, we can either bet small here or check, right? We decide to check. He bets just over half pot. And decides to rape, charge all draws. Oh, yes, king queen. We need to hold. Turn comes a jack. He has 6 outs, right? On the turn, he only has like 4 outs. So we held, and it was a nice double up. So we are down to last 50. We get our ace jack. We open. We are currently 16th, right? The aim is definitely to go to the final table. We open ace jack, and small stack goes all in. The big stack goes all in. We call. We flop an ace against king queen, against king jack and kings. We got very lucky here. Can we hold the river? Yes, we did. We did hold. So very nice double up here. Unlucky Keith. So we're down to the last 29. We are currently 7th. Get out ace king suited. We open. Small blind jams for 2.6 BB. We call. He had king jack. We have him dominated. Just need to hold. And the river wasn't a jack or club, so we win with ace high. Small chip up, which is always good. We have pocket tens, small blind button jams. We call. He has 8-9 off. And run out clean. We chip up again. Now we're down to the last 20. And we are currently 4th. So very good. Get out ace queen. And down to the last 15. We decide to limp. Everybody folds. And big blind jams. We call. There's nothing we can do, right? He got us beat. He got us beat. Unfortunately, he got ace king, and the king come a flop. But we turned backdoor equity, and we got very lucky. We rivered a backdoor flush, and that was like a big suck out. And it was like really the turning point of the tournament. So in the end, we managed to get onto the final table. I mean, this is an interesting hand in the final table. The chip leaders open on 2 bigs. We decide to just flat and play conservatively with ace-5 suited. I think it's like we could raise, right? Once the flop come king, once flop come 4 of hearts, queen of spade, 9 of clubs, we decide to take a stab at it, start bluffing once he checked, right? So we bet 2.7, 40%. He calls pretty quick. We didn't turn any additional equity, but I want to put pressure on all his like smaller pocket pairs, like pocket tens, pocket jacks, or pocket 7, pocket 8, right? And we decide to bet again. 90% of the pot. He calls pretty quickly. And the jack comes on river. It's really interesting card because he's playing like he has jacks, tens, or 10 jack, right? I thought about it because we could triple barrel and try to represent a strong hand, a set, or like top 2 or just top pair. But once the jack come on the turn on the river, it's really bad for us because we now check back 10 jack, 8 jack, right? We don't have to bluff anymore. So after thinking, we decide to check it back and just give up because we still have a tiny bit of a showdown, really, right? And it's very good that we did because he was trapping us all the time. Wait, he rivered a 2 pair. There's no way he was going to fold. We take a hit on our stacks. So we're down to last 8. We get our ace king. And the chip leader opens again. We only have 25 BBs left. We decide to raise. And interestingly, the button calls. Cold call are 3-bet. So the alarm is already ringing. And once the flop comes 7-3-7, 2 hearts. I mean, we could still bluff at this, but I think it just like our hand is not good to bluff, right? Once the turn comes deuce of heart, the flush made it. We decide just to give up completely because there's no point for us to bluffing because I just don't want to lose the final table to a bluff, right? Even though he bets really tiny on the turn, we decide to fold. We could still be ahead of a lot of his ranges, but in theory, his ranges contains a lot of small pocket pairs or medium pocket pairs, right? That would play exactly the same way. So we decide to give up. We are down to 14 bigs. 15 if you including the post. On this hand, we have pocket sevens in the big blinds with 14 back. And chip leader decides to shove. We call. We need to avoid ace and 8. And in the end, we did help. So we double up again. Very nice. And the next hand we have ace 8 ourselves. And the chip leader is in the small blind. He rips. We call. Because his range is like king, jack, king, queen, king 10. He would all rip, right? And we double up again through him, which was very lucky, right? I had him join that on the turn. So we're down to last 6. And we get out 10 jack suited in the small blind. Decides to just flat here. And the jack 3, 4 come on the flop. We check. Turn comes a king, which is really bad card for us. Good for the initial raiser's range. And he checked his back. Very interesting. So the 6 of diamonds come on the river. We decided to bet small. I think this hand we might get bluffed off, right? Because once he raised, right? He could raise with ace of diamonds, queens of diamonds on the river. So in the end, we just decide to fold. I mean, if he got there cheaply, then there's no point for us to find out exactly, right? We're down to the last 5. We have pocket 5s on the button. And everybody limps. So king 5-3 come. We have a middle set. And the UTG just bet half pot. We decide to call. Such a clean flop, right? No need to raise immediately. Time comes 7, 4-6 got there. But I don't think anybody got 4-6 at this stage, right? Once he jams the turn, there's nothing else for us to do. We're only rejamming for another like 3 bigs. So we jam. And he has king queen. We have pocket 5s. So we double up again. Very nice. Very lucky. This hand is very interesting because Morgan has been playing really tight throughout the final table. And once he raised 3 bigs, it's just like king, queen, king 10, ace 10 suited, something like that, right? So we decide to jam, put maximum pressure on the holding we just mentioned, and hope for him to fold. I mean, if he decides to call, we have like a suited Broadway cards. Definitely playable. After long tanking, and he decides to fold. We just pick up another 4 bigs. At this stage, it's really crucial to pick up the blinds, right? So we're down to the last 4, and with King Jack, we just decide to fold here. I mean, looking back, we could gamble, right? Because Hunter has been like the most aggressive player on the table. But Morgan is really tight. So against Morgan's range, King Jack might not do well, right? So we decide to fold. Once we're down to the last 4, it's like I'm second in chips. So I start to play a little bit conservative as well. Or hoping just like one of the small stacks to get knocked out, we just take the money jump, right? Because the ICM value is 220-ish. So we got another all-in with ace jack versus sevens. And we're hoping to hit the ace or jack on the river, so we get a money jump, and the ace came on the river. So down to the last 3 now, which is very, very good. Uh, 4-6 off just doesn't play well at all. We just decides to fold. Next money jump is big, so it's almost like $60. So we fold again. Interestingly, right? Nobody on this table ever clicked the deal button. Everybody is confident in their self, like playing. Queen 7 suited. We open 3-handed on the button, which is fine. Try to pick up the blinds, and we chip up a little bit. We're second in chip, right? So it's not like we are playing really aggressively. Picking up another blinds here, so very nice. 5-7. Decide to fold. Have the bigger stacks on our left, which is not ideal, but it's okay. At this time, I was just hoping for Hunter to go out, right? So we take another money jump. He jams for 9.3 bigs after the button opens to 3 bigs. He's the chip leader. He has to call this, right? Okay, ace jack versus ace 10. And Hunter doubles up. It's not ideal. We are third in chips now. We have king queen in the small blinds. Button opens. There's nothing we can do, right? King queen off, 3-handed. We rip. and take it down. Very nice. 10-5 suited. Could open occasionally, but down to the last 3, I don't think it's an open hand. Interesting, the small blind just completes and lead the flop. When we get our ace king suited, oh, ace king off. I was hoping Hunter to raise or something, and he did. We're gonna rip. He falls pretty quickly. We're taking down pre-flop. A second in chips now. He goes all in. I mean, I probably called it off with Queen Jack suited. Queen Jack off. I think the crack play is fold because you still have the bigger stacks on your left. If he has a better hand, then you are just screwed. We open with Queen 4 suited. I think it's fine. Puts a little bit pressure on the blinds. And we have the initiative. But once he jam, easy fold. No need to gamble with Queen 4 suited, right? And he jams again with we cannot call with Doyle Bronson. So we fold, move on to the next hand. We get another Doyle Bronson hand. Decides to fold. At this stage, it's like waiting for your hands and just boring. I'm hoping someone knock out someone. You just get the money jump. I mean, small blind just goes all in, and there's a call. Queen 3 versus 8-9. Of course, 9 comes on the turn. And no help on the river, so Hunter double it up. Now the chip leader. Goes all in again. 10-8 off. We decide to fold. It was really unlucky for Shadow. Like, he had the top pair. Well, pocket sixes. We decide to jam. And he folds. So, not a bad result. Queen 7 off. Could open like 10 or 15% of the time. Heads up, maybe a little bit more, 25%. But At this stage, I'm just waiting for shadow to get busted, right? Then you just take the money jump. King deuce, not a playable hand. It's close here. We could call and defend or rip. But the thing is, once you rip, he calls. He's just gonna have an ace high so often, right? You are just so dead. He rips again. We fold. Shadow calls. Ace deuce against king queen. 9-8. Jack on the turn. He has a gutter now. And ace high hold. We're down to the last two, which is very good, right? So we guaranteed $235, which is very nice. And we have ace king. We decided to rip. No, we raise to 3 bigs. He folds. And we got dealt aces the next hand, and he just folds. Like, why didn't he shove? So playing heads up with Hunter for the tournament winner. We are the underdog. He's like, chip ratio is like 3-1, so 2.5-1. So one mistake, we are out. And heads up, we're just not getting any hands, to be honest. He limps. We decide to take a flop with Doyle Bronson hand again. Flop comes Jack, Jack 3. We check to him, he bets. Don't think we need to call here, right? If we had like 10-9, 8-10, 8-9, we probably can call a small bet. 3-6 off, we fold. At this stage, you just want to have like a ace X hand or king queen, king jack Broadway hand to go all in, see your luck. And 8-3 suited, we flop the bottom pair on a king 10-3 board. Turn the deuce, we bet. He folds. We win our first heads up hand. So 3-7 off, decides to fold. He limps on the button. We decide to take a flop. Regional flop for 9-5 suited. And we were willing to get it all in, right? With this hand. So we bet 1.2, he calls. The worst turn come on the turn. Four of diamonds to pair the board, and even worse, river for us. But we only have 9 high, so we decide to bet. And he calls with ace jack. he wins. I mean, he just limped ace jack, right? Next hand, ace 3 suited. He decides to rip, he folds. Pocket 5, easy jam, easy call. Ace 9, and he flops a 9, but we turn the set. We got very lucky here. So now we have almost 20 bigs. Yes, 30 bigs. So pretty even game now. We raise with king 6 off. He rips. I think folding is better than calling, right? And I have king 3 suited. He limps again. Remember, he limped ace jack last time, so we decided to check. Flop comes 497. Turn 10. We didn't turn any equity, but we decided to take a stab at it. Nope. Okay, we checked. And river comes 8. Now we decide to take a stab at it. Yeah, I think this bluff is good, right? Because any 6, any jack, and any flush will bet. So on the button we got ace 10. We decide to raise. And he goes all in. We definitely call. We're up against queen jack, king queen off, and he flops a queen. And we couldn't find a king or ace on the river, so we lose. Then we got second place for $235, which is very nice. And our bank challenge, now the balance is around 400 now. So considering we started with, okay.